I can hit you with everything that I want. Meanwhile, the first version says, I just need a hit. If it's a tipper, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. I can just confirm off stage.
Mm-hmm.
Just rinse and repeat the edge guard forever. Or just like land a neutral B or fair one to secure the
Land it
kill
down
instead of
till get that neutral B. You know the drill.
you know the vibes. Let's see. What kind of players are Nick and Kapl? Because I haven't heard of either of them previously, but it seems you're familiar.
I'm not too familiar with Nick. The only experience I have with Kapl, if this is the same Kapl that I'm familiar with, was I played against Kapl in bracket, and I had more trouble with Kapl than I've had with some very well-known names, I guess would be the way to put it.
Interesting.
Kapl in the right position, right? If you play at a certain timing that Kapl already tends to be acclimated to, man is very, very good at landing one hit and turning it into 5 more.
I see. Yeah, that's the kind of that's the kind of Clairen that's very scary to me. Like that's the vibe style of Clairen where just every hit can potentially mean death. Like the kind of sortie style Clairen where they're kind of playing honestly and they're just kind of trying to outrange you in neutral every time and they're just trying to reset to neutral. Like that's not so bad. But when they just kill you every time and they're still kind of advantage in neutral because of their speed and because of the range of Clairen, then it can get really hard.
Yeah, it was one of those moments where, you sit there and you think to yourself, all right, well, I might be playing a big body character, but I am getting hit by combos that would have hit no matter who I was playing. This person is definitely aware of how to make this game work out. But in the end, the big question is, what is it that these two have in store for one another? So Nick coming in here, not seeded for top 8. So made some upsets in order to make it over here.
Let's see. Seems to have beaten the Glue, Jason. I'm just not familiar.
Neither am I.
But no character data listed for the Glue either. So
that's kind of how it ends up, right? A lot of the time when it comes to, I guess, new games would be one way to play. I say new. Rivals 2 has already been out for a decent bit, right? Almost a year now, right? Like we've already gotten past the half-year point. But it's definitely an interesting thing, right? To see so many people come into the community and how things change around, because beforehand it was such a small, close-knit community where everyone just knew everyone.
And now just like everybody from all different kinds of scenes.
I love to see it.
Yeah. Like I came from ults. There have been plenty of PM players, some melee players, some various other platformers like Slap City and such. So it's nice to see.
Yeah. And speaking of which, Nick, very, very happy to see this Kapl off stage and in a difficult position here. The Clairen Ditto can be extremely rough once you find yourself behind. There's a lot of Dittos where it's so much more volatile, but this one feels so much more stable.
Yeah, I can kind of imagine like the off-stage game would be pretty bad for Clairen in this matchup, because Clairen's favorite tactic, like at least some of the Clarens I've played against, is countering recoveries into F-Stone at the ledge, which is a very, very dangerous option. And
in the meantime,
prime for countering.
Yeah, in the meantime, what I will say is Nick seems very, very comfortable with grabbing that ledge. I can feel, some PM/melee background here, but in the end, Kapl already going to be dropping down 2 stocks, and there's a reason why Nick made the upset to make it to top 8.
Yeah, extremely strong stuff.
right? And right now, Kapl at 1 stock. Nick hasn't even taken 60% yet. Commentator's Curse coming in clutch for Kapl here, though, but still not going to be able to have the lead.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard when you're down to 2 full stocks like this. It's just struggling to make it back on stage. But, okay, opportunity here. Just gotta secure this juggle, but ooh, a little too late on the up tilt.
Might be a little bit too late there, but up B from Nick going to be able to get them back on stage, and Nair from Kapl going to send him straight back into that blast zone.
Nothing like a little go-go gadget Nair. That move kind of just does everything for Clairen a lot of the time. Can lead into anything.
Ah, yes, Nairial. What a beautiful move.
It combos, it kills, it does your laundry, does your taxes, commits tax fraud, gets you sent to jail, pursued
sends
by the
your
IRS.
opponent to jail at the same time.
It's all worth it in the end.
Yeah, it's all worth it in the end. And speaking of in the end, early lead might not have mattered already. 1 stock to 1 stock evened things up, and Kapl back into the swing of things. Nair paying in dividends.
Yeah, this has been a very strong comeback, getting some of that momentum back, and still has it. Oh my god. Could this just be a reverse 3 stock in the end?
It definitely could be. Right now, Nick has Kapl off stage. What is the answer? It's not going to be grabbing the ledge here. But right now, both of these players still looking for that 1 in. Back throw, not going to be able to take it. Kapl able to just barely get that timing mix up. And now Nick's the one off stage.
Yeah, Nick is like under insane pressure right now to secure this kill before. Okay.
There it is.
Does manage to secure the kill. Very, very close though.
Yeah, actually so much closer than I think Nick had anticipated there. Goes so much deeper than we've seen Nick go until, you know, that moment, right? So many of these early kills were just, you know, tried and true edge guards, ledge traps on the side there, but just then we see it go all the way to the corner of that blast zone and immediately into that next game. No time for waiting.
Yeah, on Tempest Peak too, this is like one of the most volatile stages in the game. Like it's part of the group of stages that I call kind of like the double-edged sword stages. Like this, Rockwall, and Forest, where basically every character has nonsense that they can do to kill early.
Especially in the Ditto.
Oh my god. Kapl is just running with this momentum that he picked up at the end of the last game though. So maybe it would have been better for Nick to just take some time to breathe.
Yeah, I mean, remember, it's not just about winning the game, it's about winning the set. And sometimes the set changes vibes so quickly.
Yeah. Ugh. Especially in a matchup like this where both characters have such strong advantage state, like the person who gets the first momentum generally tends to win.
Yeah, I mean, the scales have tipped very heavily into Kapl's favor here. Now, Nick off stage could be in a lot of trouble. Another tipper coming on through. And just like that, Kapl, once again with the Nair, has the Clairen off stage.
Yep, great position for this rinse and repeat edge guard. Let's Nick back on stage for a little bit, but right back off. Just swatting him off the stage every single time.
Back air down strong to start things off, but not going to be able to get that kill just yet. Right now, Nick still looking to take stock number 1 in response. We're starting to have a small momentum shift.
Yeah, Nick finally got the center stage. Instead of just getting put off stage over and over, or like being trapped in the corner, which Kapl was doing previously.
What an Omps attack.
Yeah, but unfortunately Omps attacks don't matter in the face of Tipper Bear.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we mentioned in the set with, you know, Lone and RX, right? Where if your opponent gets up to a high enough percent and you're playing Clairen, it's just Bear percent, and you just start throwing out that tipper back air. If it lands once, you get that kill. And just like that, you know, Kapl able to get a 3-1 stock lead in game number 2 seems to be the exact reverse of what we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, we'll see if Nick can adjust the same way, but gauging by the momentum, I kind of doubt it. We'll see though. I think Kapl just does such a good job of keeping Nick off stage or in the corner. It's just hard to actually get those opportunities that Nick needs to start making a comeback. But has one right now. So we'll see if he
has a
can
bit
make
of a
the most
comeback
of it.
here. Now, the question is, what changes when it gets to the last stock? What is it that you as a player are going to be focusing on? Are you going to continue your same game plan? Is your opponent going to continue their same game plan? And right now, it seems both of these players really lock in when it comes to the final stock, Phase 2 activated.
Yeah. I mean, Kapl just has Nick in this same offstage position that we've been seeing this whole set, and especially this game. Yep, the Tipper Bear, not quite gonna do it yet, but probably one more would be enough.
Yeah, one or two more, just 10, 15% more, and we've almost certainly hit Bear Country.
Yeah, I mean, Tempest isn't the best stage for that kind of thing, though. It does have a very high ceiling. It does favor more like the neutral B edge cards, the fair one stuff, or even just the Tipper F strong.
Or Nair.
Yeah, or Tipper Nair. Tipper Nair is a perfectly serviceable kill move.
Yeah, but either way, in the end, it's going to be none of the things listed. Fair to Tipper going to be able to take game number 2. And Kapl fighting back with a vengeance.
Yeah, we'll see if Kapl takes game 3 with fair 3.
Fair 3. Oh, goodness.
You gotta have it line up.
Oh, Lord. Now, one thing I will say, right? So, I don't know so much information about these players' backgrounds outside of the game. One of the things I did know, right, is when I fought against Kapl for the first time in bracket, I was told by people, oh yeah, this person, very solid at the game. It was like, okay, I'll believe it. I have no reason not to believe you. Any other background info? And they said, well, he got very good at the game very quickly, very recently. I was like, okay, well, does that mean that he's like unemployed and or a child? And it's like, no, actually full-time job. I was like, that's incredibly impressive, actually.
That's scary. people who are just like good at improving, those are the people to watch out for in every single game, because they'll just keep doing it. Like as bracket goes on, or bracket after bracket, like they will just keep putting up better and better results until they become like top performers. So
yeah, but speaking of which, both of these players have been continuing to improve the longer the set goes on. Now only 2% separates the two. We've hit Bear Country, and there goes the first bear.
Yeah, Jules Vale is definitely a more favorable Bear Country than Tempest was. That closer top blast zone. Also going to benefit for the Tipper up tilt. That's not quite going to do it, but it like almost did.
Yeah, but now you've got the back turned, you have the up tilts, you have the back airs, so much things threatened in that position there. But once again, keeping things even.
Yeah.
I say once again, this is the first time we're seeing it.
Clairen is such a threat. Yeah, it's true, like, both games thus far, like, one of them has had an overwhelming lead that the other one's had to come back from. Whereas this is just like, okay, we both adapted to each other. We can both get our stocks. Let's see what happens. But Kapl, okay. Kapl almost got Nick in that devastating rinse repeat edge guard zone. But Nick finds a way out very cleanly.
In the meantime, Kapl and Nick still going toe-to-toe. Nick off stage trying to get back on and will be able to succeed. And the DI away from these throws has been so good for both of these players.
Yeah, I mean, if you play the character, like, you gotta know what way to DI out of your own kill throw. Of course, it is kind of a 50-50 with Clairen, like whether they're gonna go for the F strong or the up strong. But I haven't seen the up strong from either of them yet.
Definitely a possibility that both of them are holding on to, but in the meantime, back throw, forward air, going to be able to do that one just fine.
Very clean.
Oh,
let's see.
Speaking of
I
clean.
think Nick has been a lot better about getting back to stage and reclaiming center stage than he has in the previous games. So Kapl hasn't been able to. Oh,
yeah, that SDI to get back on stage.
Oh my god, this struggle's going on forever.
Up strong.
Wow. Crazy stuff from Kapl there.
Man, that's all. Yeah, and all of that
Secrets.
started off with one tipper dare where we thought to ourselves, oh, well, you know, this should send Nick off stage. This is going to be rough. We see a very solid SDI input from Nick to get back onto stage, you know, just to stay grounded right there. Unfortunately for Nick, did not knock down. And all of a sudden, it was just unbelievably terrifying the rest of that very short stock.
Just bouncing back and forth between the air and the ground the whole time. Until Kapl finished it with that very, very clean up strong.
Yeah,
but we are on
that's
fours
exactly...
now.
That's exactly, you know, one of the strengths of Clairen that we were talking about earlier, where there's those Clairen players where if they land one hit, they turn it into, you know, 5 more. And in the right position, with the right reads, it can be so unbelievably oppressive.
Yeah. Well, let's see. It'll be harder to kill off the top one this stage, though. So, bit of a different dynamic. I think, both this and Tempest were Nick's counter picks. So it's no, I think Nick won the first game. Okay.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, but that's gonna kill so much earlier than it would have otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, might be harder to kill off the top, but sides are looking to close in and give you that warm embrace of death very, very quickly. Right now, Nick trying to give that embrace over to Kapl.
Yeah, Kapl bouncing off the wall there, but ooh, that's not quite gonna kill. Can't find the second tipper up air that will Clairen to go for.
Yeah, but
And
unfortunately,
now,
oh my
Clairen's
goodness,
back.
it's not over.
Ooh, yep, off stage. Trying to keep Nick off stage forever.
All right, there we go.
Yep, finally landing that bear.
I was gonna say, this is one of those stages where it is a little bit harder to get into that bear territory, but like, in the end, this is still going to work eventually.
In the end, it didn't even matter.
But right now, Nick has to try really hard. He needs to get very far in order to catch back up to Kapl here. So much on these tippers. But once again, Kapl just in the lead and able to wall out the other Clairen.
Yeah, dominant on this match point for him here. Oh, no! Little too low. No, still has the jump. Okay. Ooh, that was scary.
That was scary, but it was definitely scary, but unfortunate that Nick wasn't able to capitalize very much off of that, because not only does that say, you know, Kapl was able to get back, but it also says, you know, maybe maybe Nick ends up thinking, I don't know if I have the edge guards really down.
Yeah, I think Nick is very strong when he's capable of just like playing on stage and being in neutral with Kapl, but he's not as good at just keeping Kapl off stage in the same way that Kapl was. Like, you saw, like, the most recent time when Kapl was off stage, like, he kind of just went for a dare that didn't really do anything in an attempt to, like, just get the kill immediately. But, may have benefited from the rinse and repeat style edge guard. Yeah, it goes for another dare, like, right there.
Oh,
but
no
that's
jump.
gonna kill for Kapl. That's
Yeah,
gonna
no
do it
jump,
for the set.
no jump, no tech, no stock, no more
Keep it a
tournament life. And Kapl
No
gonna
hope.
be moving on in losers.